You have all been summoned for your particular set of skills in dealing with what has been known commonly across the realm as this new emerging threat called the Death Curse. It seems that adventurers and people who had previously died and been resurrection had been hit with this malady, this affliction that saps them of their vitality. Obviously, this isn't a good thing. There's plenty of old adventurers out there. The world's filled with them. It's not all TPK. Some people will actually retire and do stuff. There's a panic growing in the area because of this simple fact. There has been a cutoff from the other side. People who die cannot be brought back to life. The people who have been resurrected previously are beginning to decay at a slow rate, ultimately claiming them. This has been going on for about 10 days. It seems every day at midnight, when the new day starts, they grow a little bit weaker. Seeing as this is a difficult venture, they have decided to go to a new group of adventurers, which is you all. Lalaine Silverhand specifically was chosen as your guys' patron. You were given travel to meet there, and you meet in the area of Chult. Have you taken a look at the map? We covered it in session 0, but big wise, the island of Chult is huge, and you all are in Port Nyanzaru. Port Nyanzaru is this amazing, bustling port town on the northern tip of Chult. You've all have arrived over the last couple days, gotten some time taking in the area and stuff like that. You've been invited to a villa, and you all awake in Lalaine's villa. She set up guest rooms for you. It's the time when the majority of you are here, so it's time to start planning what this expedition is. You're greeted to the rise in the sun. Throughout the night, it stayed a constant 70 degrees. It never really dips below that, even though it's around fall. You've got seabirds and coastal birds flapping around. You hear the markets starting up, the chatter of various people engaged in commerce and trade. You hear the bellowing of dinosaurs and their handlers trying to wrangle them about. The smell of spices from the markets flow into your nostrils as you kind of stretch and take in this morning. You're guided into a room where you're allowed to sit and kind of family style. There's plates everywhere with all these different types of foods. And this is where I'd like to take care of some introductions. Does anybody want to describe their character first?
Yeah, I'll go. So what you guys see is a mostly cloaked, mostly hooded figure, probably about 5'6", with a bit of a caul covering just the lower part of his face for the time being. The skin is very dark, and the eyes are kind of a deep purple. Other than that, everything seems pretty much covered by the cloak that he's wearing. No visible weapons. Very silent, very calm. He introduces himself as Bemeril and states that I'm a mercenary sent forth from Brigandere from out west to basically see what's going on here, report back, and I'll just be kind of along for the ride for the time being and see where I can help out.
What is something that people would say about you who have passed by your way? What reputation do you hold in certain circles?
Those that have dealt with him, he's generally pretty quiet, but when he does have to fight, it's quick, fast, and bloody. But he's known primarily as a fighter and a leader within Brigandere. So that's a mercenary band that primarily consists, if anybody knows of it, of male drow that have exiled from Menzoberranzan, which is predominantly female, and they all kind of fell together under this mercenary band. He's kind of an up and coming member of that, so he's just kind of known for following orders, but he's ambitious. That might be a little bit of why he's kind of been sent out here to kind of get him out of people's hair for a little bit.
All right. And who would like to go next?
I can go next, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you look across the table, you see a man about 5'8", 5'9", wearing kind of common-looking robes. Looking at him, you wouldn't think he's anything other than just a common villager. Kind of dirty feet. The only thing he kind of has just a small quarterstaff, which you kind of, just pay no attention to. And but he has this kindness to him, kind eyes, kind face, and you look at him as just a very calming person. And you would probably know his reputation that you've heard would have been he's in a search for someone, and he's talked to many, many people along the way. And he's very peaceful, calm demeanored, and does not like to engage in confrontation. And yeah, so that's the vibe you get from him. And his name is Drizzt, and he is a human druid.
Everybody knows his Hondelise. He's a professional from Neverwinter. Definitely not a quiet professional. If you've met him before, you've heard his voice, you've heard his laugh. Despite his rather easy upbringing, he is experienced across most of the Sword Coast, carrying upon him trimmings of leather armor, belts, straps, bags, trinkets, the kind of trappings you would expect from a man in Neverwinter. He's pretty well known for getting the job done in as harmless a way as possible.
And Jay, what about your character?
He seems to keep to himself a lot, which a lot of you guys know. And he's always, it seems like he's always talking to somebody over his shoulder. You guys hear him always praying and muttering a something under his breath. Sometimes you can kind of make it out, but you can tell he's praying to Horus. And he's always either polishing, talking to, or holding this rubber duck. And it's like super precious to him. Everybody that knows him knows that was his late child after watching the demons drag my family to hell, as you can see, beloved son and wife.
Metal.
This is the guy that I'm after, and I try to tell people about him, like I'm going to end him. He is the reason, he is the sole reason. His name is Rashni, and I will have my vengeance.
And what type of reputation do you have in the circles that you run in?
Pretty well known as being a healer, somebody that's nice, always trying to be there for the people. Innocence. You hear him say, "Innocence. I shall never kill an innocent at all," and I fight for the innocents as well. So people know that as well about me.
And you're all sitting down at breakfast, kind of talking amongst yourselves about things. Your host is absent. You get enough time to gather food onto your plates, sit down, and Lalaine starts to make her way in. Her movements are slow, if not looking like slightly painful. Her face is adorned with a mild amount of makeup to add a touch of color to what is now becoming a pale visage. She's been afflicted by the death curse, so she has a personal stake in seeing this ended. Had been wrapped around her as old wounds had begun to open and weep a little bit. It seems that she's becoming unraveled. She sits down and an attendant brings her tea and some biscuits. She starts eating. She says, "Well, we don't have everybody here, but now's as good a time as any." And she pulls open a small map, which is the map that you guys see. She says, "Here we are," and feel free to mark stuff on this map. It'll be your guys' map to be able to navigate from and stuff like that. She says, "We're here at Port Nyanzaru. Up north is Fort Bell. That's where the Flaming Fist are at. They're the primary force for trying to get through and figure out where this death curse is at. Normally, the captain would charge a fee, but we've taken care of all of that stuff for you. We are situated in the Bay of Chult, and there are two rivers that run to either side. The River Solstinstar goes to Camp Righteousness. Camp Righteousness was one of the few bastions left, but it was quickly overrun by the undead that comb through the jungle. They have resettled into Camp Vengeance, where they are holding steady, trying to figure out the best way to navigate the Aldani Basin, which is this whole entire area down here, leads into like a swampy delta. There is rumors of an old city located there, and then she goes over to the other river, the River Tricree. This will follow down a little bit further. There's no major settlements or anything like that on there. We have reason to believe that the Soulmonger is somewhere in this area. We have been able to track its activity and figure out that it is between the Valley of Lost Honor and the Peaks of the Flame. I'm sorry that's not a lot of information to go on. Do you have any questions? I think that might be the fastest way to go about this.
How much time do we have?
The curse has grown stronger over the last 10 days. Mechanically, every day that goes by, people have died, their max hit points go down. Once you reach 0, your soul gets claimed. So, eventually, if you take too much time, everybody's gonna die, and then this thing's gonna envelop the world, and all souls are gone. Souls that have already passed over are still safe. It's all the new and recent deaths.
Gotcha. How sure are we that if we destroy this thing, it'll end the curse, or is this a shot in the dark?
We're relatively certain. There was a holy man who had a vision of a giant coiled serpent around an hourglass deep in a sunken city, and he saw the visage of death. And when death opened its mouth, death didn't flow out, but motes of light began to be consumed. We're pretty sure that destroying whatever is going on or killing whoever is responsible will stop this.
So, to recap, you said there's some remnants of the Flaming Fist, possibly at Camp Vengeance.
Camp Vengeance is where they resettled after being taken by the dead, and she points out the fact that there's small amounts of, like, they're tracking the undead activity. If you look at the kind of toxic brown stuff, that's undead activity.
Gotcha.
The river flowing is kind of stagnant, so people with canoes are able to make it there and back. They're able to travel each hex is about 10 miles. They're able to travel pretty quickly by canoe and take a lot of supplies. It's difficult for beasts of burden, especially horses and mules, to try to make it through the jungle. So it cuts a lot of the stuff. Some people have even suggested just chartering a ship in order to drop them off, but it seems that there's a rather greedy dragon turtle in Snapping Turtle Bay, so aptly named, that patrols around the wild coast in the Great Sea, and there's only one bay that you can actually, like, get in and land on. Or Snapping Turtle Bay, they've got a break in the mountain ranges that you can go through. There have been a couple of airships that they tried, but the terror folk harassed them, and a couple of them have actually gone down in the jungle.
I am not fond of the aerial route. I don't know about the rest of you, but I think there's just, I don't like the idea of falling, I think, is the big part.
Well, myself, I prefer to be one with the land. I hate to ask this, miss, but what was your name again?
Lalaine Silverhand?
Oh, so we're actually talking to Silverhand.
Yep, this is actually her right now. You guys were invited. She basically sponsored you in her villa, and she's like, as an ex-adventurer and somebody who's afflicted by the death curse, she is all about making sure that you guys have whatever you need to try to do this. She gestures for the chest to be brought in.
Would it be, I know you said 500 gold. Was that for each individual, or was that 500 gold for the entire party? I'm just curious.
So she opens up the chest, and she puts out, first is a letter, which is a letter of credit for Port Nyanzaru. She's basically giving you guys like a 250 gold cashier's check that you can spend in Port Nyanzaru. And then there is 250 in gold, and then 2 potions of healing, as well as there's a kind of a what looks like a member of the Corvus family. So Raven, a crow, you're not really 100% sure. It is just jet black with shiny feathers, and it's hopping around this little ivory cage, and she puts her hand in, and the bird jumps on, and then as she brings it out, it turns into this stoned figure, and she puts it down there as well. She says, "I pray that you don't have to use this, but this figure will be able to relay a message to me. All you have to do is activate it, tell it what you want it told, and it'll fly back to this cage. This is one of the only ways that I have to maintain contact with you. It will not return. And if you need to send something back, it can carry something about the size of a large coconut."
like a swallow?
Yep.
European.
This one's definitely European.
All right. Well, so he kind of pulls back and says, "Well, I think the first thing we need to establish is this party's obviously important, and we need a leader. So if anyone else has experience leading troops in combat, by all means. But otherwise, I'd throw my name in the hat there."
I am perfectly content not being a leader.
All right.
How does Hassan feel about this? You've worked in a lot of groups.
I'm concerned with the canoes. How many people do the canoes carry?
The canoes can carry 2 and a little bit of gear. But that's the easiest way to travel. Right now, that's what the money's kind of for, is outfitting the expedition. So you're not forced to travel by canoe. That's just a route that most people take to get to Camp Vengeance, which is like the last bastion of humanity.
Is it a safer route? Is that the reason why as well?
Yes, I think it is quicker.
And you don't have to worry about horses faltering and breaking legs or getting attacked. Like there's still dangers in the water. They have piranhas, there's leeches, there's all these other things. They're things that are drawn to the water for these sources, but that is probably one of the easiest ways to go. The other way would be by ship, but then you got to possibly deal with the dragon turtle.
Well, I would just say this, my friends. I would lend my aid for navigation, as I am very well equipped to navigate.
So I have a few other questions before we start divvying this up, or a couple ideas, anyways. First off, so we're talking. Do we know how many are at Camp Vengeance?
They went out with an entire company's worth of people, so you're guessing anywhere between 60 to 80.
When was the last time they were heard from?
They get reports back quite frequently. It seems that the troops are not faring well there. A lot of them are succumbing to disease more than injury or the dead.
Okay. What about, let's see, how bad off is Camp Righteous?
Camp Righteous was completely overrun. They're still, as far as they know, it's still standing. They had to leave when a huge wave of undead came in. They had to go and flee, and then they set up. Camp Righteous was a archaeological site that they were looking at. They found iconography of a couple of the gods.
Okay. What other entities are operating in the area?
So the ones that we are concerned about are the Red Wizards of Thay. They have a specific interest in the death and destructions that's being called. And then you have radical fanatics led by a Yuan Ti by the name of Ras, who's got a religious fervor and zealot nature to himself.
And I hit the counter when I hear his name.
Noted. Well, I'm not fond of wizards, but they can usually be negotiated with.
Rosny will not be negotiated with. He will feel the wrath of Horus and me.
Deal. Any other requests?
If I can
Alright.
take over his power, I want to take his power so that I can save my family.
Are there any other elements in the area that might be friendly towards us that we could recruit? Is kind of what I'm getting at. What do we know about the inhabitants of, for instance, these mountains to the west?
There are dwarves. There are clusters of and pockets of civilizations that are kind of isolated. Think lost tribes in the Amazon type of thing. Like you can go from one square to the next and find different things. There's in the basin. There's a society of cursed people that look kind of like lobsters and humanoids put together. They've been there. They say that they will curse you and turn you into one of them, and you'll never be able to leave. There's these small fluorescent frogs called grung that are very, very territorial. There are terrafolk that have been said to live in a giant column that looked almost like a watchtower.
Who's saying this?
Lalaine, she's saying this.
Okay. Can we get is it possible that we could get a guide or somebody to show us the way?
Yes, absolutely. With part of the purse
That is with
we've
the
given
leader's
you.
position.
Yeah, with part of the
Yes.
purse that we've given you, we've factored in a guide. Also, canoes are sold for 50 gold pieces, and they hold up to 6 medium creatures, and they have a max speed of 2 miles an hour, which is a slow movement speed. So I was incorrect about that.
So at least 2.
Yeah, 2.
3, 2 canoes. What I'm thinking though,
The guide and 2 people, and then the other 3 from the group.
what if we get a third and stock it with medical supplies and food? Because if we're gonna try to recruit these guys to help us get down through that maze, we want them in
And
top
water.
condition
And what?
and good
I
water.
might also suggest we don't put all our food in one basket type scenario. We split that shit up
Goes without
between
saying.
the 3 of them. I'm just
I am not
throwing
eating
it out.
shit.
Yep.
Of course, friend. And you're a human, right? Is that right, Damien?
Last I checked.
All right. So we get 3 canoes, 2 for supplies or however we break it up, but we are gonna need personal supplies. We're gonna need stuff to get us through these jungles, and we're gonna need to bring at least 1 additional canoe of medical supplies, food, water, whatever for these guys, so we can get them plussed up. What else can you guys think of?
Alex, is there any way that I could negotiate for that armor? Something at all?
No.
Well, we can go shopping, right?
Yep, you got 250 in credit, which is basically spendable here. Everything is player's handbook prices. And then you also have $250 in actual physical gold coins that you have.
Okay.
So that can be used outside
What
of
do
Port Nyanzaru. Total of 500. 2 potions of healing and a figurine of wonderful power, which I'm calling the Raven, which is basically like a message spell.
Awesome.
A one-way message spell.
All right, let's calculate. There's how many of us total? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
Well, I don't count. Well, unless you call me the guide.
Well, with Adam, it would be 1.
Yeah, like I'm planning as if everybody was here. I'm just trying to think what we need to bring as far as rations and stuff like that.
50 gallons of water.
In each one, I'm thinking.
So
Also-
special things, because this is the jungle and it does rain, they do have rain catchers.
And I just said his name too, and he showed up. Look at that.
So
That's funny.
rain catchers are a stationary thing. You got to set them up, but you can catch 2 gallons of drinking water per inch of rainfall that you get, and they hold up to 8 gallons.
All right.
The rain catcher costs 1 gold and weighs 5 pounds.
So 5.
5 of those.
It's
I would
also
say
insect repellent that 1 block sells for a silver piece, and it basically gets put inside of a little catchment system and kind of burns like incense and keeps bugs off you. That's
is there a package deal, like a jungle adventurers kit that we can
Sadly, there isn't one, only because a lot of people have chosen to go different ways. One group decided to go by
Yeah.
ship. Another group decided to just trek through the land. They bought a dinosaur and are like trekking through the land.
So we do 3 things of 50-gallon water? Or...
Yeah. that
we
would be
got
best.
those things that can collect it too. Okay, so
Can I sell my chainmail back then, for extra gold? I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to
Some
sell
sellers.
your chainmail, you could sell it at cost.
At cost.
They'll run you a super special deal since you're trying to help. They will buy it back for you at cost. Adam, what was your character doing that they showed up late to the meeting for? And if you want to describe your character as you walk in, Lalaine goes, it seems the final member has finally made it. I hope that your endeavors went well. I understood that you were looking for something or someone.
Well, as I dusted the crap off of my clothes and pulled the tree shrubs out of my hair, wiped my face a little bit as I was trying to elude some bandits that were chasing me. They wanted my loot, not L-O-O-T, my L-U-T-E, because I have a loot with a gold trim around it, so it looks kind of shiny and special. They wanted it, so I ran. I had to run, because I was not equipped to fight at that time. So that is why I am late.
Well, I'm glad to see that you shook them and you have your loot intact.
Scratches, but loot intact.
From the various little dust ups, what type of reputation would you have to this group? How would this group know about you?
Probably just through reputation of other taverns they've been in, hearing of the bard with the extraordinary tales, because that is what I specialize in, is the tales of the myths and the mysteries and the almost unbelievable things that have happened.
Yes.
So reputation of my exploits in my song has spread along the countryside.
Lalaine starts to talk and go into a little bit of a diatribe about what you'd missed, and then she starts coughing, and she's like, will somebody please tell him what was explained, as she starts sipping a little bit of tea.
Basically, the gist of what we're looking at, if you come over here and take a look at our map, we are currently stocking up so that we can travel downriver, theoretically, to Camp Vengeance, make contact with the remaining Flaming Fist members, and then move our way south.
Does that river keep going after Camp Vengeance?
Guess we'll have to find out.
It empties out into that basin with those cursed people. It's like a large, miles-wide swamp that goes pretty much into the middle area. But the canoes are passable through that swamp.
It's good to know.
What's the name of the camp?
Camp Vengeance.
Onion.
Mhm.
That's the furthest one on the map, but we're gonna go to Camp Righteous first.
No. Camp Righteous is
Right.
the one that was overrun by the undead. But
And it was an archaeological site as well.
we could absolutely check it out, see exactly how overrun it is.
Oh my god, I swear. Thank you for it.
But yeah, currently we're just kind of going over provisions. I think we've decided on the boats, including
All right, so how
one-
much are the canoes?
Canoes are 50 gold apiece.
All right, so that's 150.
Okay,
we
are you keeping
have-
track?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be your quartermaster.
Nice.
10 insect repellents is what I have put down. It should
Yeah,
be.
that's the incense that do 20 feet, and there's also a salve.
How
that's
much are insect
waterproof for a
repellents?
gold piece. So the sticks of incense are 1 silver piece, and then you have actual goop that you can put on yourself that lasts for 24 hours for a gold.
Okay.
How long does the incense last?
The incense lasts for 8 hours and covers a 20-foot radius.
Okay.
I think that's more of a making camp kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's one per.
Yeah, 1 gold piece per.
Okay. I would say we each carry with us 2 doses of that. I don't see us using it like every day, all the time.
Just in case. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
kind of a just in case. So 10 insect.
You guys wanna
cells
go
is
with-
another 10. 150 gallons of water. How much per gallon?
It's at the player's handbook prices. We'll say if you buy the barrels, that they'll throw in the water for free.
Okay.
And
Go ahead and
then
get that figured out then too.
rations.
I put down 15, or not 15, I put down 30 rations. Hopefully we move at a pace where we actually have the chance to go out and, grab food. So we keep the rations in case we don't.
The barrels are 2 gold apiece,
All right,
and they hold they're 40 gallons.
40 gallons.
40
so why
gallons
don't we
of
say
liquid.
160 gallons, 4 barrels.
That works.
All right,
Oh,
so that's
very
8.
nice.
That's another, for the 30 rations, that's 15. And that's enough for us, like, if we run into, like, a whole week of hard times.
Yeah.
But I highly suggest we hunt it or do something else.
I think we should be good on that.
And
Armor
the
and
ring
weaponry.
catchers, how much are those?
The ring catchers are 5 gold apiece.
5 gold apiece. All right. So
Let's take like 3.
I put down
It's-
5 actually, but we can do 3.
Because it's 2 gallons. Like it's enough to provide for the party.
It'll hold
Alright.
it'll hold a total of 8. It'll do 2 gallons per inch of water
Okay.
that
I
goes
think-
in there. So having
I think
more would
Damien's
allow you
right,
to
5.
get more over a
Yeah.
quicker amount of time rather than
I like the
it go
idea
up.
of
Okay.
3.
Okay.
I'm gonna put the total
Because
cost down.
Each day we need to at least consume 2 gallons, so it'd
Yeah.
be nice to
But
just
we're
have
also
that.
carrying 160 gallons with just the barrels. So like
Oh, that's true.
50.
Did you want to get a couple barrels
76,
as well to put the rations and stuff in?
184.
So at least it's like
Secured. Yeah.
secured, and if it does go over, at least it'll be in a barrel floating.
Some rope.
Yeah, definitely need rope.
All right. Well, right now we're at 199. That's what we've spent.
There are also a few merchants from the princes of the merchant guilds. They have been able to open up a little bit of their stock. There's one of them that will sell potions that are common for 80 gold pieces, uncommon potions for 300, first level spell scroll is 100, and a second level spell scroll is 550.
Good to know.
And then you also have another one who will sell +1 ammunition per piece, 50 gold pieces, and then a +1 wooden shield is 450 gold, and then a +1 dagger is going to be 500.
Well, we don't have any of it. But the common potions sound interesting enough.
It's always good to have a few extra lying around if we absolutely need it.
If you are
Yeah.
looking for ways to make a little bit of extra coin, it is not uncommon for people to bet at the dinosaur races.
You had me at dinosaur races, which
Yeah.
technically was the last thing you
As
said.
of right
but
now, we've got 297 gold in the coffers, as it were, out of the supplies. So,
Tell
I
you
mean, if
what.
she's willing to let us gamble with the rest.
What if-
it's your gold? If you feel like you are prepared for this situation, I trust you. I was once an adventurer. I knew the thrill of risking it, and your reputations precede you. You've been selected for your tenacity and your ability to get stuff done. I would only caution you to not make a big display. There are people with light fingers who would love to pick your pockets if you show a lot of gold.
Noted.
Say we risk it.
One last question. Can you point me towards whatever literature you might have on the curse of this creature? Something I might be able to get some more background information. A library, perhaps, something along those lines.
Our best scholars have been researching this over the last 10 days, and we've got an approximate location and the effect. Whatever it is, it's bad and it shows no signs of stopping.
Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm ready to go.
Does anybody else have any questions? This is the last area, besides the small supplies that Camp Vengeance has. There's no guarantee you're going to be able to find or get anything out there.
I'm gonna get another shield as a backup.
So it seems like the problem we kind of got right now is the gold. So I do have an idea. What if we take there's how many of us? 4 of us here? 5? We take 25 gold each and take an hour, see what we can do about doubling it. Get the best deal out of there. There's the dinosaurs apparently. Some of us could gain whatever.
I do have a little bit of gold as well. I could throw towards it. It's my personal gold.
So he takes the 10 gold as a shield.
No, that's fine. I'm gonna purchase that out of me selling my chainmail.
Quick question on semantics. Sorry, my mic wasn't working. How much gold did each of us start with, and did we give it all to Damien to buy all that stuff?
So you started with however much gold you got when you created your character. You could either go for gold or for gear. Whatever you had remaining out of that. The 500, the 250 in the gold letter, and the 250 in the loose gold were given to the group. Oh, I keep calling you the group. What is the name of your expedition?
Cocaine Thunder Monkey.
Good question.
Damn. Well, let's go, Bard. Come on, this is what you do.
Create us a name.
Dude, I do not know what's going on on my effing computer.
Actually, you know what? The one thing I do want to buy, if we can find them, some thieves kits and some trap disarm kits.
I say thieves tools do both of them, and they're listed at price.
Okay, how much are those?
They are
Roman?
25 gold apiece.
There you go.
Let's get at least 2 of those just in case.
I have 25 gold. I can contribute that.
So
Yeah,
they also got 500 gold worth of pretty much credit and loose gold for like a per diem.
Well, never mind then.
I'm not saying
Okay.
that they won't use your stuff. I'm just saying that there's other ways.
Yeah.
They
I'm
thought
not-
you guys.
We already have these tools.
Always good to have extras, right? A backup set.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So that's
here.
all
What
of the
about
credit.
tents? Do we have stuff to sleep in? Because that was one thing I didn't get. I did get a blanket, at least. I'm assuming we're probably going to want tents. A tent is 2 gold a piece and sleeps up to 2 smaller medium creatures.
Yeah, might as well get a couple of those.
We get 3 of those.
And then you were also talking about a guide as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
so whatever the guide costs.
Do you have an idea of what you're looking for in a guide? I might be able to get you a lead on a couple of people.
Do you know a ranger?
Well, everybody is familiar with the area and hopefully will not get you lost, but there is a dwarven miner. There is I believe a member of your order, Driz, a druid of the Enclave that hangs out with a vegapygmy. They seem rather emphatic about fighting the dead.
That might be a good place to start. That's my vote.
We should go talk to that individual, for sure.
Which one?
What did you say the name of this druid was? Or did you not?
Let's go talk to the druid.
Kawasha
Quasha.
and his little vegapygmy.
Where do we find him?
I will send my servants to fetch him, and he will be here in a little bit. Is there any other things that you might desire before you set out?
feel like we got everything.
Was you
Actually,
kinda-
I do have the Jahaka Bay. How easy is that to reach?
You're talking about the one that's down there. It's a easy go. You're looking at basically traveling 1 hex every hour with a ship. You might be able to get passage on a boat pretty easily. Let's say they charge you 100 gold, and it would take care of supplies and stuff like that, and they would drop you off at Oaxaca Bay.
Well, and who's up at Fort Belluarian?
Those are the Flaming Fist. They affectionately call it Fort Bell. It is the Flaming Fist who are the people who are kind of in law and order in this area. Their goal is to travel into Chult, figure out what's going on, and then along the way they are going to basically raid tombs, plunder treasures. Think British Empire. They're in it to win it, but they're also grabbing stuff as they're going through, because there's a lot of stuff that the jungle's reclaimed over time. So that's what they were at Camp Righteousness for, was they're investigating an archaeological site.
Gotcha.
That looked to be some shrine to a god, and while they're trying to figure out what was going on and how to get into the inner sanctum, they were overrun by undead, and they had to flee further down the river.
Right. So what I was actually thinking is, what if we set up a resupply? Because it looks like we can cut through eventually. If we hit here, we can cut through to this side of the river, come out in the bay, and we could have a resupply waiting for us there. We can approach this area from here. How's that sound?
I'm trying to see what you're drawing. You mind using the ping tool to trace it out?
Yep, sorry.
That's all
Okay,
good.
so theoretically, right, we come down here, original plan, resupply these guys, get them set up. This, we can cut through this small kind of the jungle, explore what we can, but that pushes us right out onto this river, and then we can approach through the mountains to our ultimate target, hopefully with some extra fighters from Camp Vengeance. And if nothing else, we'll have a resupply from wherever we hit, coming from here to here.
It's doable. The mountains are very difficult terrain, though.
Well, we could have them load the mountaineering equipment into the resupply. That way we'd have it ready for us when we got there, and we could probably get a second dwarven guide through those mountains.
How does everybody else feel about this? I'll tell you what, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go put my chickens to bed. I'll be right back.
You know, he actually does when he says that, right?
Puts his chickens to bed.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you didn't know him, let me say it.
Part of me is thinking going up the mountains might be very difficult, especially with any supplies that we would have. How would we haul them up the mountain? But is that where we're headed first? I guess is another question.
We're starting in Port Nyanzaru, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, we're up here at the top there.
I think we were going down to Camp Vengeance.
Yeah, that's what he's suggesting is go here, right? And then bring them their supplies, do whatever, and then he's thinking he wants to go down here.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
I think we take the land south. I don't want to risk those mountains. And time's of the essence.
Right.
Well, we could also use the canoes to get through that area. So, I mean,
Yeah.
when we need to stop and get off before we get to the mountains, probably at what, Otsa?
And then we'll have to carry everything over the mountains.
Yeah, I just think that'd be too difficult.
Yeah.
And then there's apparently some sort of resupply ship, which I don't know that we have. And if we did, why would we bother with this trip? And why not just go with the resupply trip?
Well, yeah, who's paying for this ship if it exists?
That's also what I'm thinking.
So from here, are we thinking straight down, or do you want to kind of?
I think
I'm thinking straight down from Camp
we
Vengeance.
go to right here and then go down. Take that. And go.
Maybe hit that tip and then boom.
And then just like get
Yeah,
out
just
in
the tip,
here,
though.
Just the tip.
yeah, just the tip.
That's what I'm thinking. So if
I
you
feel like there's probably some kind of path.
undo that. I want
feel
that.
like there might be some kind of path from there to like the other Otsa or the Ots.
Is anybody else able to get that to erase? Whoever's doing that, thank you. So who wants to jot out the path then, a dotted path or something?
I think we go like this to here. Like I feel like there's some sort of like, I don't know, kind of like a religious thing, you know.
We're thinking we want to stay away from the mountains, Logan. It's gonna be too hard to bring up supplies, and that terrain's just gonna be too difficult. So we're either thinking of going to Aztakalakalu and then shoot straight down from there.
Sounds good. I still think it would be wise for us to have them give us a resupply at the mouth of that river.
Who's going to pay for the resupply, though? And who's going to provide it? I think we just stocked up on everything we're going to be given. That's just
Yeah, but if we've got extra money.
We don't have enough money for a ship to do that. We don't even have enough money for a ship.
If we play it right and we do this right, our supplies should last us. To Damien's point, any opportunity to hunt the land, we should do that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's step off then.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. I'm also thinking like if we would just have a resupply ship there, we could just cut the middleman out, just take the fucking ship.
Save our money.
I mean, we could technically do that, couldn't we?
Adam, are you caught up to speed?
We could rent a boat and actually go around to there, to like that corner, just where the river is, right here. So because we are at a port literally right now. So I mean, it is possible that we could do that instead of the canoes if we wanted.
The canoes are also useful for going through the swamp, right?
Yeah.
So like they're going to be useful beyond just the ship on the river.
I don't want wet feet. That would be bad.
Especially around the mountains right here.
So we're starting right here, right? At Port Nyanzaru, whatever it's called.
Correct.
Yep.
And then, so that's like we're at a tavern or something starting there, or we're at the our benefactors.
We are at Silverhand's. Is it a tavern or just an establishment? Doesn't matter, I guess.
Establishment, I think.
I'll be right back. I'm going to put my chickens to bed.
So, all right. So what's the meaning behind this chickens thing? So she called us all together because obviously she heard about all of our cool skills and whatnot. And so we all gathered here and kind of went around the table and introduced each character. And she kind of told us about the death curse. Are you familiar with the death curse, Adam?
Yes.
Gotcha.
This is simply for the sake of the name of our expedition. The first victim of this curse, was their name made known?
Patient Zero.
All right. So I'm going to say the first victim of the curse, his name or her name was Elrond Ridge. So we could be the expedition, the 9th pilgrimage of Elrond Ridge, or we can be the Twilight Accords of where we are currently, making an accord at midnight. Or if you guys don't like either of those, fuck it, I'll chat GPT it.
What was the first one again?
The 9th pilgrimage of Elrond Ridge, who was the first victim of the curse.
I like that because he's already told us that, we're not the only adventuring party that's done this, or, we're just one of them. So I feel like that would definitely push that point, if you know what I mean. Okay, so if there's a route right there, that's the route I put in. I mean, it's obviously going to be different once the map actually opens up, but
yeah,
you said somebody else do it, so I feel like that's probably the best.
Hey, Ford, I'm going to have to get with you offline and catch up. I got to go pick up our soccer practices done.
All right.
It's 2 weeks in a row on Wednesdays. There shouldn't be any more Wednesdays, but we'll see.
All right. Family first, right?
I'll try to catch up with you.
Yep. See you.
Sorry, guys.
Later, man.
I'm like failing right from the beginning. How I feel at work right now, too, man.
Family first, dude.
All right, later, guys.
Yep.
Later.
I'm going to grab a drink quick.
I got a boba tea right now.
Was Matt playing in this one or no?
No.
I'm stoked. This is going to be fun. I don't think we've ever had a campaign with this many rations, though. We're always going like balls first hungry.
So where'd we decide we're going to first?
We're going to take the river to Camp Vengeance and see what's happening there, get those people what they need. And then the idea is we're going to take that, hopefully, the marker down to the Aztez and then see if we can cut to Hazi. But we don't know what's there, so hopefully it's not mountainous terrain.
So what's the good stuff?
Adam had to go. He had to go pick up his son, so I'll catch him up offline, or you can in the chat, whatever, brief overview. But I think we're all in agreement. Oh, what was our name? The 9th pilgrimage of
Zephyrill, or whatever
the first victim of the death
like
curse.
Patient Zero was.
So we're the 9th pilgrimage of that guy's name, if everybody's in agreement.
So I think we're going to take the canoes and start heading down river.
All right. So you feel that you are stocked up. You've got everything that you need. Everything's good.
I think so. Food, water, bug spray, rations.
Fishing pole.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that.
What about a net so you can grab your fish, or a spear?
Okay, now we're good.
We have stuff to make a camera, obviously, but flint and steel, I mean.
So these canoes travel at 2 miles an hour, which is basically slow speed. So that's the stuff that we are going to be using for that handout.
Who wants to steer? Who's got a good survival?
Drizz.
That would be me. I got a +5.
All right, Driz is doing that. And, well, actually, we've got to have at least one person in each canoe, right?
Yeah, but I could be the lead canoe.
Okay, he's leading.
So at a
I'll
slow
double up
pace,
with
you're
somebody.
making 1 hex a day.
The reason why is my character's built for like having a teammate next to me.
So canoes on lakes and rivers will allow you to travel 2 hexes per day.
Oh, shit. We only have, like, fucking, what, like 10 days to solve this thing?
Now, you got a little bit more than that. You're guessing that you have up to probably like 60 days.
Okay, let's do some math real quick.
That's always a good thing.
Here's a ruler. Rough calculation, it's going to take us about 10 days alone just to get down this river. Down to Camp Vengeance. Hey, we have a druid. Can't you, I don't know, magic up the water or something?
Magic up the water.
That reminds me, your guide shows up. And that means that I have to go back and find the guide in my notes. So you guys are just basically doing the ordering of supplies and then getting out of there.
Quick question before we leave. Where was this person located?
Washa is meeting you guys at the villa. He's actually going to be showing up right now if you're good with it.
Perfect.
Or Doombringer.
Hey,
Witness me. Let justice weigh my foes. In vengeance, God, no innocent shall fall, but the guilty.
that is a good prayer, my friend. As you see a Chultan native with braids in his hair, with turquoise beads and stuff like that. Next to him is a small veggie-pygmy that kind of circles around his feet. Says, my name is Kuasha. I'm told that you are in need of a guide for the jungles.
Yes, I think we do.
We are indeed. Tell me, what do you know of the jungles south of Camp Vengeance?
The jungle south of Camp Vengeance leads out into the Aldwali Basin. There are a lot of undead in that area. A scourge on these lands that have been popping up.
If you were to be our guide, how long would you stay with us? When would you turn around?
I do not know what you mean. What is this not be with you? If you hire me as a guide, I do this as a service to Chult. The only thing I ask is that we destroy every single wretched undead that we meet along the way.
What was your fee, sir, per day?
I will waive my fee for the sake of the citizens of Chult and the island. I ask that we engage with and eradicate the menace that creeps across these lands.
We are gonna be friends.
All our friends who deliver these undead shambling hordes back to the clutches of the earth.
Stick close to me. When battle comes, I will protect you.
I am Kuasha. This is my companion, Kuapi.
Kwapi?
Yes.
Describe Kwapi?
Kuapi looks basically like a walking weed. You've seen twig blights before. You've seen chewingas, the little mischievous forest creatures. It kind of looks like Baby Groot. I'm not gonna lie.
Awesome. Well, we would happily take you aboard as our guide, sir.
I think we are absolutely ready to rock then.
What did we call this expedition? I know it had some long name.
The 9th pilgrimage of, and then Jay's got the name.
Oh, I didn't have the name.
Oh,
Adam had it.
I'm not gonna lie. Like the Logan said, his character had deep purple eyes. I've had smoke on the water on my head,
Nice.
and that was gonna be my suggestion. We just call ourselves Smoke on the Water.
I like it.
I actually kind of like that too, since we're taking the
I like that.
the water route.
All right, I'm writing down "Smoke on the Water." We can let Adam know. He can rewrite a song.
That's the party name.
So Ethiopia
It's an easy song to write. It's
actually
like
means
3
the
chords.
water that smokes.
Hells yeah.
Yes.
Easy
So,
enough song. Deep Purple's a lot of things. Talented is not one of them.
Let's see. Do you have a token for us for movement, or where do
We
you
are
want
going
me
to do this Indiana Jones style with the red lining, but what I'll do is I'll throw out really quick to represent you guys. Representing, keeping it real.
Smoke on the wall.
Who is the party leader? That
would be-
Jay's character.
Me.
Yes.
Yep, that'd be me.
Oh wow, that is really freaking small. Never mind.
That's what she said.
I feel sad for you, man.
That's sad.
There you go. Here's your guys' camping banner. I'll give you the first hex for free.
All right, we will
Can
be
you guys
moving.
move it around.
Boom, south. So that's 1 day, right?
Every 2 hexes is going to be a day on the river.
Okay, so that's day 1.
All right. So with day 1, so the weather does not change. What pace are you guys traveling at? You got fast pace, normal pace, slow pace. Actually, pretty much with these canoes, you're just traveling at a slow pace. So you're able to hunt and forage as well with the items that you have. So who's the quartermaster?
That's me.
All right. So everybody takes a ration and then those 2 gallons of water.
Or
Okay.
are we can we forage? You said we can forage.
Yeah, we're gonna get.
We'll add
we're
that
gonna
back
get
to the
forage
rations.
part.
Oh, gotcha.
You guys have a guide, so you don't need to make a navigator check. It's easy. You're going down the rivers. You're not gonna get lost, even though the water is stagnant. So
Does
foraging,
he have his own rations, or does he have to, or do we provide for him?
He's got his own stuff for now.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to know.
Yeah, it's a decent question. You got to definitely factor him in. He's good. And then foraging and hunting. So let's go with your survival checks. We're gonna call it like a DC 10.
That would be a 24, sir.
All right. So roll me a 1d6.
Do that. 3.
You find 4 pounds. You are able to catch 4 pounds worth of fish.
Nice.
These fish are piranhas.
Ooh.
Sharp teeth, large. A couple of them show fin marks from being bit and stuff like that. But that's what you're able to catch coming out of the bay so far. It looks like fresh water is mixing with salt water. It wasn't too successful, but you're able to troll as you're going along and you catch some.
Are we marking that down as rations, or?
You can mark them as a plus to your rations, absolutely.
All right.
Nice.
How many does that give us?
Gives you another 4 rations.
Right on.
Right. And I will I'll pull guard duty, I guess, for that first night as well.
Well, allow me.
So are you going to set up an established camp where you're at?
Yep.
All right, you find a nice secluded place that is off on the side. Who's going to be setting up?
Who's our Grizz? I think you're up.
It's going to be a survival check to basically like establish the camp, make sure that everything's good.
I can roll for that if you don't like.
Yeah.
You can do that. That's 15.
All right, you get set up pretty in a small little glen, if you will. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this. As you're leaving out of Port Nyanzaru, this is the site that you're greeted to.
That's beautiful.
And now you are set off on the side. The sun is beginning to sink low. Everybody had the required amount of water. Everybody had the required amount of food. So how does setting up this camp look like? Who's establishing guard?
I'll establish guard.
I just have a quick question. After seeing this picture, it makes me want to ask a different question about traveling. Like, how much would it be just to even rent a dinosaur?
Yes, they had dinosaurs for sale, and I had the prices listed out already, but you guys decided not to go with that. It was basically anywhere from 350 down to 200 gold to get a pack dinosaur.
Damn. I didn't realize that was an option, or that's what I would have chose.
So you're establishing
Just roll that.
the security for the area and stuff like that. Are you guys doing how
So I don't have to sleep. So as long as somebody is willing to sit up with me the last 4 hours of the night, just so I can kind of meditate, then I'll pull watch for the night. So the first 8 hours, so everybody else can rest.
what's your character's name? Dredd
They know him as Bemro at this point.
Memorel? So
Yep.
Memorel is offering to basically take the majority of a watch because all he has to do is meditate. How does everybody else feel about that?
It's what they do.
All right. Does anybody have any like quirky little rituals that they're doing to get ready to like bed down? Are you guys using tents? Do you have a campfire? Bugs are starting to kind of like come in a little bit because the sun's sinking low, so you're getting the mosquitoes.
I'm gonna be.
We're gonna
praying.
let's light one of our incense,
All right, that'll get you for 8 hours.
and then I feel like we have 2 druids with us, right? Hey, can't they emulate that scent if they study it? Just curious.
They could probably, with like prestidigitation, make a puff of smoke that might smell like that, but it probably won't have the
Won't
same
have
effect.
the same effect. Yeah, I was thinking how I could. Yeah. And then other than that, I'm just going to keep watch. I'm going to kind of set up a perimeter and keep an eye out.
All right, who's first on watch?
That's me.
All right, so you're sitting there with the campfire going and the incense breezing through. what is going through your character's mind right now? They've just stepped foot on this land, and in like a day and a half, 2 days, you're already out on this expedition, and you understand that time is of the essence. What is going through your mind?
So he's thinking tactically at this point. He's doing an assessment of his party, strengths, weaknesses, trying to figure out how we can move faster, harder. He's taking a very strategic look at everything. It just kind of he's always ready to lead the next jump. So it makes him a little edgy, a little jumpy, but it also kind of hones his senses to the environment.
All right. Roll me a 1d20 for your watch. Nice. With your affinity and your dark vision, you are starting to see monkeys, like howler monkeys, up in the canopy and stuff like that, and they've come to investigate your campsite. They're not making any aggressive moves now, but you're being watched.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note of them. How big are these things? Do they look like they could pose a threat if they decide they're gonna jump on me?
If they ganged up, it might be a little like. No doubt, with your martial prowess, you could easily cut through them. The number of them is slightly concerning, but they don't seem to be making any aggressive actions. They're just looking at you, looking at each other, and they see you looking at them, which is causing them to kind of halt where they're at.
Okay. I am going to cast Dancing Lights off in the distance to distract them and drive them away from our camp. It gives me 120 feet on the range, so I can basically, I'm going to try to lure them away from camp with little blips of light.
All right, your little blips of light pop up, and the monkeys are caught as these things manifest behind them and stuff like that, and they make a lot of noise. They rattle the branches in a show of force, but they are quickly disbanded. Everybody else who's camping out in their tents here, it sounds like utter bedlam out there. The canopy is crashing around. Everybody kind of looks, and then these monkeys scatter, and you see branches, twigs, and vines falling down, but they are no longer there.
Did I just hear monkeys? I'm going back to bed.
Well, on the downside, that just made a lot of noise. On the plus side, it also just made a lot of noise. So I'll just kind of shrug and lean back into the tree and continue my watch.
All right, the rest of your watch goes uneventful. Who comes after that?
So I was pulling it through the night.
Okay.
But I know that last, at some point within 4 hours, or I've got to have about that 4-hour meditation, so somebody's going to have to swap me out at some point, at the end.
We're at that point right now. Who's taking over for you?
Take over.
All right. Hassan's there.
I'll take the final watch.
Hassan volunteered to take the next 4 hours, so he's being kind and letting everybody rest, unless that isn't the interpretation that I got.
No, that's right.
All right.
It's your meditation, my friend.
Thank you.
You throw a couple logs onto the fire to kind of brighten the area up and stuff like that, so that way you can see a little bit more. It seemed that Mesmer kept things a little darker. He was perfectly happy about that. And as you finish with your routine and getting the campfire established and you sit down, what does this remind you of?
Getting the campfire set up, sort of staring at it, thinking about other campfires I've set up in different jobs, taking in the sights and sounds of the Sword Coast, various roads up and down it, getting a bit homesick already, thinking of those first campfires, walking on patrols along with Neverwinter Guard. Never quite felt like I belonged with them. A sort of wistful nostalgia with a tinge of sadness.
And as the flames gently dance and kind of bring visualization to the stuff that you're remembering, you're noticing that the sky is starting to brighten a little bit, and this would be about the time that you would unmake camp, start getting on the road.
I'm just doing a once-over of our surroundings, checking that map again, making sure we're not missing anything, that type of stuff. But
yeah, make sure we do a quick inventory, or at least make sure things are in order, right? So what was that noise last night? I thought I heard monkeys. What? Any idea what that was?
Yeah, that would have been the monkeys.
So it wasn't a hallucination or a fever dream. Yeah, okay. Well, wonder if those monkeys. You always hear about monkeys like to steal things.
That is a vicious stereotype.
But one that's true.
It is very good that they left when they did. A lot of other adventurers have had certain things pilfered. They like food.
See?
Apparently they like shining better.
See, I didn't make this up. This is known knowledge. I've heard this.
It is well known through the Enclave. We must understand them in order to behave like them and be one with nature. I fear this has been an easy night, my friends. It will get harder from here. The dead grow thick in the jungle. And as he kind of broadly sweeps his hand over to downriver, you guys see that it gets thick with canopy and overgrowth and stuff like that. The canoes have no trouble navigating because they've got a shallow bottom, but you could tell you definitely couldn't get any bigger vessels through here. And he starts packing everything up. You guys got another day's worth of travel. So if you subtract the...
Should be right about there, right?
Yeah. If you subtract the amount of rations and water at the beginning of the day, I think that would be the easiest.
Okay.
And I'll do that Indiana Jones redlining. Which, by the way, I totally watched Temple of Doom. Still holds up. And I can't believe my parents let me watch that when I was younger. Because I was like, that's kind of sus, man. Crazy stuff. Alright, so you're going through. Navigator, roll me a... Actually, no, party leader. Go ahead and give me a 1d20. Alright, tracking that. And then we will go with Ford. Give me that survival check for Driz for getting food and water.
24.
You're roll 1d6. You're pulling up a lot of good stuff. You're getting, so far, 3 pounds of food, so 3 pounds of rations added again, and you're just about ready to pull up the last one, and the boat starts getting nudged a little bit. It feels like you're getting a bunch of strikes at the bottom of your boat. The fish that you start reeling in has been almost bitten through. It is basically like lips and gills, and tiny little pock marks and bites. It looks like these piranhas are starting to become an issue for you, but none of them have been able to breach the surface or jump out. What's everybody doing?
We're tidying up, pulling whatever fish we have, and discarding the lips and gills, and starting to think about this piranha situation internally in my head.
Okay. You guys are seeing the boat that Driz is in is starting to be kind of bumped, and you're starting to see like not a whirlpool effect, but you're starting to see the surface tension of the water being broken as fish are breaching up to the surface and hitting the side of the boat. The guide's sitting there. He's like, "Oh, it's a quipper swarm attack."
I am going to... Hold on a second.
What's everybody... As Logan's figuring out what his character's doing, is anybody else trying to do anything? It looks
I'm
like
aiming
these
my
things are-
crossbow.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking right now.
I'm looking around. Are we kind of close to the sides of the river?
Yeah, it's pretty wide. You've got about 50 feet on each side. You're traveling through the center. The swarm was attracted to the amount of fish that you guys were catching and started trying to go for it. It looks like they're interested in it, but they're not doing any noticeable damage to the boat. They're not like putting holes in it. This isn't like Piranha 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Do we have enough rations that maybe we can throw some back in the water to throw them off?
So I'm going... Sorry, before we toss rations, I am going to, again, I'm going to create little slivers of flashing lights 120 feet upstream, make it look like minnows are racing through the water.
Alright, you guys aren't to that point yet, but the boat's still being bumped up against.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. In that case, I'll ready a fucking crossbow.
Gotcha.
Two
Crossbow's ready. Anybody else doing anything? What's Jay doing? He is holding fast, praying to his god.
I'm gonna try to wait for one to break the water and shoot him.
Alright, you get the chance. One of them breaks the water.
Alright.
We'll say anything above a 10.
Well, there we go.
That's a
That's
hit.
a 12.
The crossbow bolt pierces through it inside of its what could pass as a shoulder, and it starts to go a little bit limp, and it doesn't even make it to the surface before it starts getting attacked by all the other quippers. It seems that they have been drawn to the side of that blood.
That's
and
what
are
I was hoping
turning
for.
turning on their own. It is quickly devoured, though. You would say about half the swarm has dissipated, and the rest of them are still engaged in trying to bite what they think is an animal. What's everybody else doing?
That seems to be working, so I'm going to shoot another one.
Okay, anything above a 10. 14's a hit.
Cool.
You hit the other one. They start as it goes through the last couple of the swarm pretty much dissipate and break off, and then you're able to make it to your lights, and they don't go past those lights. Whatever couple ones stopped before they reached within 10 feet of your lights.
These piranhas seem to be getting very, very hungry very quickly.
Well, if that's the worst we've come across so far.
Quasha, do you have any insight as to what lies ahead?
What lies ahead? Past these couple bends, we should start running into undead. They are hungrier than these piranhas, my friend.
But those are the things that you would like to get rid of, correct?
The undead, absolutely. The piranhas are a part of life's natural cycle.
As long as they don't sink our boat.
They won't.
Will they eat the undead?
You know, I've never asked. I know that they're drawn to the sight of blood and movement.
So
I'm
it's
gonna timidly raise my hand when he says that. Can you ask?
Can I ask the piranhas? I could. Fish go blub. I'm able to talk to them.
In 3?
I've picked up a couple tricks with the Emerald Enclave. I had a teacher who was kind once and taught me how to speak with animals, so that way I might better connect with nature. Unfortunately, the fish aren't the best conversationalist. Do you know that they don't even know that they're in water, much like we are in air?
It's odd. I'd figure they'd be smart.
Well, even though they
Because
do
they
travel
travel
in
in
schools. Inspiration. I'm giving you inspiration for that one. Good times. All right. So you guys are sitting there BSing. Does anybody want to talk about anything as you're floating along?
No, I'm just keeping an eye out. This place has been a little too mellow for my liking, so I'm getting a little edgy. I am liking the canopy. I do feel a little bit more at home. The darker it gets, the deeper we go in this jungle.
Gotcha. Comes about that time to make camp. What's up?
Because of the somberness, I start humming this like it's like a child's lullaby almost, and it kind of gets a little bit louder. And I feel like it was being really quiet around us, so that's all you guys would hear. And not as like it's trying to be a performance or anything like that. You can tell it's a meaningful song to him.
And you guys find a little part of the bank that you feel would provide some safety for the night.
Do we see any dead around or undead or anything that will cause alarm before we set up camp?
Give me a perception check. It's kind of difficult to tell. You know that things come in and out of the water, but you're not seeing any of the telltale signs of the dead. There's no clothing that is wrapped up in the underbrush. There's no obvious drag marks. There's no boot. There's no human footprints. It looks like this area is kind of free from that stuff. You do notice that like there are stone circles, probably because you've traveled, like a lot of people travel this way, so that it looks like somebody else probably used this as a campsite before.
Okay.
Right, I'm just gonna keep watch.
Alright. As Logan's character is keeping watch, is anybody else doing anything at this time while he's keeping watch, or are you guys pretty much setting up the same type of thing?
I think the same type of thing. I think before I hunker down for the rest, I'm gonna cast a fog cloud over our camp. I think that lasted an hour, so it'll at least give us an hour of cover.
Alright. How does that look when you cast?
Strangely enough, it looks just like normal fog. You wouldn't tell the difference of anything that's out of the ordinary.
It just starts materializing and then hanging out?
Yeah.
Nice. Is anybody staying up with Logan's character to talk? Is anybody trying to do anything? I'm giving you guys this little bit of time to kind of chew on the scenery, if you will.
Sure, I'll stay awake.
What are you doing? What are you talking about?
What brings you on this mission? What really brings you on this mission?
Business.
If we're gonna be fighting next to each other, you can at least be a little more open. Of course, it's business, but there's also the undead everywhere, and they need to be destroyed.
So I pull open my collar and I show him the little sigil of my mercenary group. I say, I'm a mercenary. I go where I'm told. I go where I'm paid. There's nothing higher, no glory, no higher purpose behind this for me.
But that's where you're wrong.
Everything is a means to an end.
That's where you're wrong. Or can teach you. I promise you. Man, vengeance upon the dead and bringing life back in a land full of the dead with Horror's help. Like, I'm telling you, if you just follow Horror, or at least let me pray with you.
Hey, whatever gets you through the night, brother. And I'm gonna pull out a coin as he's praying, and I'm gonna respectfully just kind of sit back, and I'm gonna just roll it through my fingers, just doing tricks. and keeping an eye on the horizon.
And with that, I'll head to bed.
All right, you say your prayer. You feel a little bit more connected to your God. He lets you know that he's watching out for you. Damien, you are in your sleeping bag. You've got your gear around you, and you smell like a familiar scent. It's one of the perfumes that your beloved wears. It seems to be coming from your bag, the one that you keep on all the ones that, basically like your lucky backpack that you've kept for like a whole bunch of missions and stuff like that. It's got patchwork stuff sewn into it. There seems to be a smell coming from there. A smell of home.
And take that in for a moment and open my bag.
You open your bag, you rummage around a little bit, and then you find it kind of tucked away. It's a note, and in a very familiar handwriting it says, "Read me when you need assurance."
I'll go ahead and open it and read it.
Alright, and what does it say?
It says, Hassan, Solana Star, this isn't the end of your life. It is the beginning of ours. Stay true to what got you here, and know that my toe is with you. Whether or not you feel like you are of Neverwinter, know that I am your home. Be sure to come home. And then it's signed Release.
Alright, nice little touching tribute to home. Who's on watch right now?
That'd be me.
Alright, give me that 1d20. Something large is coming through the underbrush. It's like moving trees out of the way. The ancient timbers seem to groan and strain as you're watching the entire top of the canopy starting to move back and forth.
Okay.
And then you hear as massive amounts of air are being sucked in and billowed out. You hear low clicking, a low thudding. Boom. You're watching little mud puddles ripple with an effect.
I whistle sharply to get everybody's attention.
I rush out of my tent, see what's going on.
As you guys rush out of your tent, you hear the bellowing of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And that's where we'll pick it up next time.
Well, damn.
Metal.
So we're running, right?
Well, T-Rexes come in different sizes.
Hey, they can't swim, right?
Those tiny little arms.
Those little arms.
They got
Let's
little.
challenge
They
it
got
to an
those
arm
little.
wrestling
We got a
swim
chance.
things. Awesome. Thank you guys very much for making it to the session. I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome first run, dude.
Yep.
Really
So
looking forward to it.
next one we play, we are going to be pretty much starting out in initiative against a T-Rex. So that's what I got planned for you guys.
I'm excited to see how this is going to work out. Like, what kind of crap we're going to get into.
Let's get into a T-Rex.
Yeah.
I'll fight a T-Rex.
Yeah.
All right. So I will see you guys 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
All right,
later,
man.
guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Later.